Moving on to the Russian invasion into Ukraine, and Kremlin spokesman Dimitri Peskov has said that Russia will only use nuclear weapons in the context of the Ukraine conflict if its existence is threatened. In a CNN interview, Peskov said, and I quote, "We have a concept of domestic security and it's public. So if it is an existential threat for our country, then it can be used in accordance with our concept," unquote. Those are the words of the Kremlin spokesman. So essentially, Russia not ruling out using nuclear arms, but also putting the condition that only in case they are facing an existential threat, then only would they be using it. More breaking updates, and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy has said that Russian forces not only blocked humanitarian convoy trying to reach the besieged Mariupol with desperately needed supplies, but also took captive some of the rescue workers and bus drivers. So Zelenskyy essentially alleging that a humanitarian convoy was attacked and blocked by Russian forces in Ukraine's Mariupol, which is one of the key cities which has been attacked by Russia. Now, it's the 28th day of the invasion by Russia into Ukraine. The battle for Mariupol is intensifying. Two super powerful bombs hit the besieged southern port city. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy has said that nearly 1 lakh people remain trapped in Mariupol in inhuman conditions, under complete siege, without food, water, and medicine. He added that they are under constant shelling and bombardment. Meanwhile, there's curfew in capital city Kyiv, and that curfew is likely to end today. Due to Russia's invasion, Ukrainians continue to flee the country. According to the United Nations, over 3.5 million Ukrainians have fled so far, and more than 10 million have been displaced internally.
Станом на цей день у місті перебувають близько 100 тисяч людей у нелюдських умовах, в повній блокаді, без їжі, без води, без ліків, під постійними обстрілами, під постійним бомбардуванням. Вже не перший тиждень ми намагаємося організувати стабільні гуманітарні коридори для маріупольців. І майже всі наші спроби, на жаль, зриваються російськими окупантами, обстрілами або свідомим терором.
A shopping mall in capital city Kyiv was hit by Russian bombs, resulting in death of 8 people. Russia claims that the bomb mall was used to store rocket-propelled ammunition. Amidst war, sirens are being heard in the western Ukrainian city of Lviv. Jonathan reports.
Well, I'm in Lviv in western Ukraine, and the air raid sirens are nothing new. There are about 5 or 6 air raid sirens here every single day, to the extent now that people are really just starting to ignore them because they're so prevalent indeed. The country has a very effective air raid warning system. They have sensors and detectors that can tell when there are projectiles in the air, even if those projectiles may not be heading for the city itself. So yes, in terms of the shopping center, this was just the latest atrocity visited upon Kyiv. Some 8 to 10 people are said to have died there, and the center itself, by all accounts, was absolutely obliterated, twisted, charred concrete and metal everywhere you looked. Now, the Russians claim, of course, that it was being used to store rockets and as a resupply for rocket launchers. Let's just say that this hasn't been categorically denied on the ground. Put it this way, what war is a complex business, okay? And there are not necessarily any goodies or baddies, but obviously the Russian airstrike is what it was, and the evidence is there on the ground in the form of twisted wreckage and dead civilians. Well, yes, look, Lviv is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. This is an extraordinary, attractive city, once part of the Austro-Hungarian and Habsburg empires. So people used to flock here for the food and for the architecture, essentially. Nothing in that respect has changed because there have been no bombs falling on this city yet, which sort of gives us a sense of survivor's guilt in a way.
More breaking update, and U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan has said that President Joe Biden and his European counterparts will announce new sanctions against Russia and new measures to tighten existing sanctions during his trip to Brussels. Biden will discuss long-term adjustments to NATO force posture and contingencies in the case of nuclear weapon use. Biden also is likely to announce a joint action on enhancing energy security in Europe, which is highly reliant on Russian natural gas. Remember, Biden leaves for Brussels today, where NATO and the European Union are based, for meetings scheduled from tomorrow. He'll attend an emergency NATO summit, meet G7 leaders, and address European Union leaders at a meeting of the European Council. And in that summit, where Joe Biden is also expected to attend a NATO summit, NATO has invited Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy to address the emergency NATO summit tomorrow.